he's also joined in the ranks by other members of other federations, neighbouring federations maybe. I believe the Latvian president is here, Erika Aza, and they are joined. Adrian Speakman. Adrian, you've been a busy man today.
Yeah, I'm very busy today. So not as busy as yesterday. Very long preliminary to get to this point.
Well, we have our first semi-final. Mirna Borasak is going to get us underway. POPESCU on the right, Sun on the left. Sun with the pink mask is a pommeler. She has a straight French grip. POPESCU on the right with the more commonly used pistol grip. Adrian, in these early phases, we've seen a lot today, the fencers using, especially two fencers that are as highly ranked as this, using that first minute of non-combativity and quite happily taking the P yellows.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much of a punishment for your first minute. You're both going to get the yellow because you're both on a tied score. So it's worth it just to see how your opponent will react to certain things, playing with the footwork, playing with the blade work, just seeing what responses you can elicit.
Well, they left it to just under 50 minutes gone to go for the first one, and it is a double. So as a referee, I mean, like you say, there was 370 odd athletes, 378 I think in total. Sorry, 279 in the competition, 50 countries represented. When you go onto the piece for each match, is it slightly different, or does your process as a referee remain the same? You're just looking for tells. I mean, you know these fencers very well, of course.
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty much the same. It's just staying alert, making sure you do a good job, just concentrate. And it doesn't matter whether it's your number 1 seed, your number 200 seed. They're all capable of doing something different you've never seen before.
Yeah, we've seen great performances today. Esther Mahari of Hungary, 17 years old, piling her way through the tournament. Leo McKinnon of Canada doing a great job as Sun Yi Wen levels the score. Well, POPESCU was the one that looked for the action there, so it was a bit of a response, a reaction from Sun.
Yeah, I don't think POPESCU really committed to the end of the hit. It just gave Sun the option to go underneath and pick her off.
I was talking earlier on, while you were on refereeing duties, about typically with a pommeler, as Sun is, you lose a little bit of accuracy but whilst you gain that little bit of reach. But today we've seen some incredibly accurate hits from Sun.
Yeah, as a pommeler you don't lose too much accuracy. I think the biggest problem you lose out is in the blade contacts. If you end up being caught up, wrapped up in their forte, you're in trouble getting it back out and round.
Both getting caught up with each other there, both managing to avoid getting hit. The referee has to call halt. What's the real description for that? When they can't wield their weapons, or if they've barged into each other?
Yeah, I mean, so there's several. If they've gone past, they're past. If they've gone into each other, it's simple kurokor, you call halt. And if you get to the point where they're basically seesawing backwards and forwards with their weapons, where neither of them can fence because they're trapped up against the body, you'd also call halt.
Lovely attack there from POPESCU, spotting that moment to go. POPESCU working very hard here Sun just trying to stay patient. So we've got through, what, about 2 minutes now. It seems to me that Popescu is the one that's doing all the work, the creator, and Sun is the one that's reacting.
Yeah, it's certainly, Popescu having a lot of control of the piece, pushing Sun back a lot. I think it's probably in part the tactics being employed by Sun just to bring her on, look for that counter-attack, look for that hole, that opening, let Popescu do the work for her.
Well, they're down with their coaches. The coaches get an opportunity. On the left, it's Hughes Oberyn. There is Anna Maria Popescu. She's an incredible athlete at 34 years old. Now, this is a really important competition for her. We talked about Olympic qualification throughout the day, done by teams first. Romania, not really in with a shout, so Anna Maria Popescu is relying on qualifying through the individual route. And of course, that is a cumbersome one to discuss, but in short, she's chasing after Coraline Vitali, who unfortunately had to pull out of the competition at the 16 today because of a back injury. The French fencer comes away from this competition with 99 points in the adjusted Olympic rankings. Elena Kravitska, the Ukrainian, also went out a little earlier and ends up with 85 points. Popescu, by my calculations, is already on 90 points, who has leapfrogged one of them.
Yeah, she's climbing up the adjusted rankings. She'll be really setting her sights on some more points here than she's already holding. From now on till the end of qualification, it's just hard slog.
Yeah, it certainly is. April this year marks the end of qualifying by ranking. This is the second period of this women's épée semi-final match. A place in the final at stake. And the loser goes away with a bronze. Didn't land on the first one that time. We look back at the replay here. Popescu going in there, and it's a remise with a bit of twisting of the wrist to get it round, pronating the wrist. Now this is where the danger comes for Sun. Popescu, when she has the lead in the latter part of the second period, does tend to go on and win.
Yeah, this is where she wants to be, especially against the Pommeler. You can take your time, and any non-combativity is now in your favour. You're not forced to pressure the match anymore.
I think the not so new anymore combativity rules are really good. They've done the job. I wanted to stop fencers just from using time as a tactic to get out of a fight. Now, by punishing the trailing fencer, one fencer with their trailing has to do something and make an action. But as you predicted, Adrian, Popescu just sitting back and waiting for the mistake.
Yeah, that's it. The time's hers to play with now. She doesn't have to force it anymore. She did the hard work in the first period. Now it's time to let Sun carry on doing that.
Didn't really set that one up. She didn't really do anything to set that up for me.
It's a little bit impatient. It's a little bit big as well.
Sun taking her time now to find a way through. Right, so here's a question for you. 1:07-ish on the clock when the fight restarted after that double. Could you still have non-combativity here?
Yeah, definitely. It's been given today with 1:03 on the clock when the fight's restarted. If you made a rule where the minute's absolute, then when you get down to 1:07...
That's it.
Yep.
Card comes out. So I wonder if there's an element of Popescu here wanting to keep the hit rate up in order to force Sun into making mistakes. Maybe even risking giving away a hit.
Yeah, I think what obviously you have to remember is your first penalty is a yellow card, and it's separate to your normal Group 1 yellow cards, so you can afford to take a minute and not really suffer too much of a consequence unless you do it again.
Yeah.
So you don't always have to rush, you can settle down a bit.
Good point. Well, we're having a review of that one. I don't think either fencer called for the video, so I think Mina Borisak has gone to look at the video of her own accord. The only thing that she must be thinking is that there was a hit off the piste.
Beats against Sun, and everything is possible from both sides.
Well, referee is back. So no hit given. Not quite sure why that call was made.
I think she was signalling Korokor.
Okay. That's why you're here. Noticed in that little video review that Borisak did that Hughes Aubrey was talking to Sun through the translator, passing on clearly some key messages, failing with the flash attack, but getting away with a double.
Yeah, and Popescu didn't quite wrap the blade up enough to stop her from pushing it through. She just let it go at the last minute.
These two have met 4 times, and it's 2 apiece. The last time they met, it was Sun who came away the winner 14-13 at the Epée Grand Prix in Cali in May this year. Whilst Popescu has the advantage, and I tend to favour well, both of these fences, they have the lead going into the third period. Sun's definitely not out of this.
No, not by any means. She's still got a great chance. I think this sort of matchup's always going to benefit the one who gets a couple of hits ahead. The way they want to fence a pommler against someone using a standard pistol grip, you always want to be the one looking for the other one to make the mistakes.
We're getting a good look there at Hughes Aubrey on the left, the Frenchman who's now coaching the Chinese men and women, and the translator to help him out with getting across. Although Hughes Aubrey speaks very good Mandarin, you know.
Yeah, he's, you can hear him shouting it over French at times now.
Here we go, the start of the third and final period of this semi-final match at the Women's Epée World Cup in Tallinn, the 50th edition of this competition. Now, that I think is what Sun's game is all about. The question is, will Popescu fall into that trap again? I think she just, as you're watching the replay, she just gave herself a little tap on the head and told herself off, rushing in when perhaps she didn't need to.
Yeah, she's a little bit out of distance. Sun had already taken the step back before she really got into the flesh, and that just gave her the time to pick her off.
Concentration key here, you have to say, more so for Popescu, because clearly Sun has got a game plan. She's pressing into distance and then trying to react off a response from Popescu. Popescu getting a double is good for her, but Sun now, well, can only make 2 more, in inverted commas, mistakes, because Popescu is 3 away from the target score. Sun is playing a blinder here at the moment. Pressing just close enough to make Popescu think, well, I've got to do something.
Yeah, it's Popescu's not having it all her own way as she would be hoping. But you can see she's just taken charge again now, though. She's given away a couple of hits, and she's decided it's going to finish on her terms rather than Sun's.
No, I think that change much required. Looking for a beat attack there, but you mentioned big earlier on.
Yeah, I think it wasn't so much that was too big, so much as she just missed it. She had the blade out the way, and actually missed landing the point.
Yeah, perhaps a measured duck from Sun there. It's a tiny bit more urgency now from Sun. Scores all square. She's done hard work. Oh, that is a lovely shot. That's all about just keeping the point in the right place at the right time, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. And a bit big in the wrist with the flick, not finding the blade first, just leaves that gap under the wrist to hit.
Still a great skill to be able to do that. She's been doing it all day, though. Oh, that's really nice as well. Binding up the blade, going from the high line into the low line.
Yeah, she just had her completely. She didn't know where that was coming from.
My Sun going to try and press for the final hit. She does. I'm not sure that's a good idea.
I think the slip didn't help her there.
Well, while we're watching that replay, Sun just tested her weapon on the side of the piece to make sure it was working. Oh, she's got a spring in a step.
She's just trying to draw that counter out. You can see her deliberately falling short, looking for that counter.
Oh, this has turned into a belter. Popescu led throughout the second period. Sun's fought her way back and went into the lead, one away from winning, and Popescu's clipped off 2 in a row. 23 seconds left on the clock. One hit for it. Popescu comes off the line, sees the hesitation from Sun, and Anna Maria Popescu of Romania wins the first semi-final here in Tallinn. What a match, Adrian.
Yeah, but what a gutsy last hit to go for that at that time.
Yeah, I think she knew what she was going to do. She went eyes open, stepping off the line, and just launched into it. Yeah,
that was premeditated, and you knew a light was coming up. The question was whose, and was it going to be 1 or 2?
Well, listen, we're going to go quiet, I'm afraid. They're playing commercial music here, so because we are broadcasting on YouTube, we've got to come off air, but we'll be back for the second semi-final here in Tallinn.